What's up, everybody? Merry Christmas or Merry Christmas Eve. Yes, it has been a while. I've been a bit out of action, a bit under the weather. You'll definitely hear it in my voice on this episode. Welcome back to basically the Christmas episode for the Week 17 preview on FanDuel. Now, why did I just say preview on FanDuel? We're going to do things a little bit different. A lot of channels are pretty much focusing on, especially when it comes to DFS, when it even comes to this is the week where most championship leagues for the season long will finally take place. So, a lot going on. Basically, 5 games between Christmas and Saturday. So, for the first time in a long time, we'll have a schedule of up to 10 games because we still have a excuse me. I'll be a little bit in and out there. Still suffering from a little bit of a cough. But we'll get through this. We'll get through this more of an elongated overall preview because when it comes to, besides any general interviews, there really isn't much of an injury report for the Sunday schedule. Right now, it's all about the 6 teams playing tomorrow, Christmas Day. And also, this injury report's also already coming out for the Saturday games. So basically, this is just a rundown of who I like at each position, why, what news to pay attention to, and what I think are key elements to the slate. It's going to be a little different, tad longer video, but we're gonna go an overall preview, and then do another re-preview, I guess, Friday when everybody's doing their final practices, because I'm pretty sure, with no injury news or minor walkthroughs, basically, which some teams had, nobody's going to really be doing anything Thursday unless, I don't think no team is going to be doing anything on Thursday, so everything will come full-fledged Friday afternoon. Don't mind me, because if you hear pause in the audio, that's just me not trying to call for you guys' ear that much, but let's get right into it. So, last week was a fun week for me or whatever. A lot of 4 o'clock people just didn't boom like they did earlier. Definitely guessed right that it was going to be a James Cook week. It also helped James Cook because Josh Allen did stay out of the game for a while before returning. Josh Allen did have x-rays and right now it's already late in the season. 5 weeks are done. The Bills, I don't think, could play their way into the first seed. I don't think so. So this is just something that Josh Allen is just going to have to tough out for another week, for another basically 5 weeks if the Bills plan on going that far deep into the playoffs. It's pretty much the end of the season. So pretty much what the thing is, Josh Allen will pretty much most likely either be limited. He sat out the walkthrough early in the week. He did not partake, even though it was more of a light workout. He didn't partake in anything. So he is trending to play. But right now, with basically one of the top players in the league and the most important cog on the heart of the team, basically the heart of Buffalo, Josh Allen most likely will rest. Don't worry about that Q tag. He will rest. Most likely. They're just going to have to do their best to manage it because Buffalo's bye week is pretty much the end of the season. Bye weeks are long gone. I will be looking at, once again, to get to Joe Burrow against a bad Arizona defense with Cincinnati at home. 8,700 doesn't look bad at all. Having him and Chase Brown definitely did me justice. That's why 1 p.m. looked so great for me. I had 3 lineups, obviously with different variations of people, slightly in the 4 o'clock. But I had 3 lineups that had, I didn't need chasing them, obviously. One had T. Higgins. And then I had the combination of him and Chase Brown. And then I had James Cook. And then it was just a case of everybody else, coming through for me. Just didn't happen that way. But looking forward to getting right back, on the saddle and just, get right back into it. Joe Burrow, definitely somebody that I like at his 8,700 price tag. When it comes to upside, I will definitely take Drake May. I mean, it's because of the level of competition. When it comes to Philly, I like Saquon more than thinking about Jalen Hurts and that passing combo. But if I do like Jalen Hurts, I like Jalen Hurts with Devontae Smith. Once again, Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith is definitely more what fits the style to attack the Bills. Obviously, with their underneath style, occasional big plays, but more underneath. I like Saquon and Goddard more in that game than AJ Brown. Drake May, he's playing an MVP type season. New England still has a chance to take the number 1 seed at the Jets. With that news, the thing is, Drake may not be the most important play there. Obviously, the Jets defense has gone, it's kind of gotten like, what Arizona and Cleveland have turned into, excuse me, recently. The thing is, that's not the most important thing for me. It is not. The most important thing for me when it comes to New England is that right there. As we go to running backs, if Travion Henderson has a concussion, then without a doubt, Ramondre Stevenson becomes my favorite running back play at 6,400. I have some interesting plays that I do like, and I like to explain why I like them and why I think a couple people are actually undervalued. But Ramondre Stevenson, 6,400. If Travion Henderson cannot clear concussion protocol by Friday, definitely my favorite play. Back to the quarterback side, I'm still going to take Baker, especially at Miami. Good weather, weak defense. Good weather, weak defense. I definitely like... What the hell is going on here? Okay, so back to where we left off. Apologize for that. Like I said, I had to try and get this video in. I am currently at work. I had to answer that call. Slowly at the hospital with the holidays coming up, but have one more thing to take care of. So I might have another quick pause, but we're going to get this done anyway. But like I said, Baker at Miami is going to be good weather. Fighting for the playoffs. His weapons are all back. They're getting in cohesion with each other. It's looking better, slightly better every week. Like I say, it doesn't blow your socks off, but I think this will definitely be a week that it can happen. It is a bad Miami defense, so Baker has upside. Jacoby Brissett against Cincinnati. Like I said, there's a lot of bad defenses that are starting to improve now, like the Carolina defense. Cincinnati may not look at fantasy-wise, but on paper they've played better. I like the Cincinnati side more because of how horrible, like what Arizona looks like. They've just looked pretty much like a defensive sieve all over all year. But Jacoby Brissett, his volume is just absolute. You just can't ignore that kind of volume against the Cincinnati secondary. Sam Darnold against Carolina. What can you say? It's Sam Darnold and JSN. You're not playing him naked. You're getting GPP once you try to figure out what to add after that. He's always a player. Tyler Shuck had a great week last week. I also had him. I owned Shuck and Carson Palmer. Pretty much my top three, two of my top 3 quarterbacks, obviously next to J.J. McCarthy. Another great matchup. Not in the dome this time. It will be more outdoors, but I still like Shuck. It is concentrated pretty much between him, Olave, and Juwan Johnson, with the occasional piece of Taysom Hill. But Tyler Shuck, I mean, he's just pure consistency. Like, you just can't ignore the consistency with Tyler Shuck. What's funny is, because they're trying to protect him, and ever since he kind of stopped running or whatever with all the concussions, Jackson Dart, his fantasy upside is kind of low. He doesn't, like, even if you rank him and you put projections on him, the way they're protecting him, I don't even think I mean, yes, you have to, because it's the way it's calculated, but I don't even think you would give him a boom kind of ranking. You just got to be like, okay, he's either going to do something that's going to slightly go over his floor. Like, if you project him for like 14, 15, okay, what's the ceiling? I think it's like 17 or 18.51, something like that. But do I see Jackson giving you a 20-something and going times 3 at basically 7,000? No, I really don't. With DJ Metcalf down, I do like the opportunity here what Aaron Rodgers has against a bad Cleveland defense. Like I said, nobody is pretty much fearing the young upstart Cleveland defense. Basically, the last 5 weeks, I think that's pretty much been the worst defense along with Arizona in the league. And Myles Garrett is not making the noise that he was making earlier. But with Pittsburgh, let's go right into this. With Pittsburgh, let's go right into this. The most important thing is two things. What I like here is with Pittsburgh now without DK Metcalf. Yeah, they have the tight end. They have a slew of tight ends with Washington, Jonnu Smith, and Pat Frymouth. But with no DJ Metcalf and the way Cleveland's defense is, Jalen Warren at 7,400 and Kenneth Gainwell at 6,300, they're both right now 800 to 1,000 too cheap. The way they've been used the last 2 weeks. Excuse me. With the way they've been used and not no DK Metcalf, looking at this slate, 6,300 for Gainwell, he should be 7K. Obviously, you can't predict the suspension for when it happened, obviously. And Jalen Warren, it's the opportunity. I'm not point chasing because he basically had 2 big-ass runs that basically changed his fantasy output last week. But they're just going to get more. I think it's going to be I think they're basically this week, or at least for the next couple of weeks, they're basically going to be the AFC version of Sonic and Knuckles, pretty much. As we continue back to the quarterbacks now, going back to QB, like I said, I like Aaron Rodgers' upside. We'll get to the wide receivers, of course, because that's the main thing with DJ Metcalf not being there. Like I said, could this be one of those weird weeks? Like, it seems like there are those weeks where you're just going to need Bryce Young because he just, comes out of nowhere and just tears up the slate unexpectedly, kind of like what James Cook does. So, home against Seattle, I mean, that's a good thing. They're home. They're not at Seattle, but it's still a tough matchup. Shador Sanders, I'm just going to let that go and just leave it alone. Geno Smith has had a horrible season. I actually like the Giants' defense this week, but the Giants aren't looking good anymore the way, and obviously, like, that exciting upside is not there no more. So why not Geno Smith against a bad New York defense? It's fantasy. He's cheap. What sucks is, though, Brock Bowers was just put on IR. So that's one less weapon, I guess, but I will still get a chance to... I still like Geno this week, fantasy-wise. I think he's had a horrible season. And then after that, I don't think I'm going no lower than Quinn Ewers against Tampa Bay. I love Tampa Bay is going to be one of my favorite defensive plays in the last couple of weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Ewers, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Ewers and Brady Cook has the most interceptions in the last few weeks. So Tampa Bay defense and New England's defense definitely looking good. Let's take a quick look at running back. As we are now on the running back side, Jonathan Taylor, even at 95, like I said, now the offense does look better with Phillip Rivers, but he's been pretty much contained these last few weeks. So an option, but Jacksonville now has literally been a solid run defense. So definitely like paying lower, starting with James Cook, 9,000, Devon A-Chain, 8,800. Going against well-known run defenses, but they haven't been defending the run that well at all, so they're still viable. Saquon Barkley, basically my favorite pay-up option. I actually like Barkley and Bucky more than I actually like any of the top 3 in a way. Because like I said, Ewers does bring, like Devon A-Chain, like I said, Ewers does kind of bring him down in a bit. So I definitely like Saquon and Bucky. Chase Brown, I like him for another solid week. Maybe not what he did last week, but definitely always has upside. I don't feel that's point chasing. I just think Chase Brown is that good, especially with a quarterback that feeds him the ball on the ground and through the air. Since Burrow's come back, it's been a consistent 20, 21, 22, 23 touches. And it's been consistent always between 13 and 16 rushes, and he's always getting 6 to 7, 8 targets. Like his floor in targets is 5. So almost 8-chain type levels of value, and he's at 8,000. Travis Etienne, like I said, just got to ride that wave against Indy. Indy's not a defense that I fear. I will still have some Etienne at 76. When it comes to like favorite mid option, it's against the Giants. Like I said, Genty, the offensive line sucks, but when you have the opportunity to go against a bad D-line and a bad defense, your projection should look way up. My favorite mid-price running back is Genty at 7,500 against that Giants defense. Like I said, I love Genty more than Warren. I do. Do you expect Warren to pull off a 40 and a 60-yard run like last week? No. But Warren at least has the downside that Kenneth Gainwell can take most of the scoring chances. Genty, the backfield is his and all his. As we keep going, like I said, we already went over Travion Henderson. If he's out, then Ramondre Stevenson probably becomes my favorite player of the entire slate. Michael Carter, always a nice value. He gets the value running and catching. If you need some, salary relief, I think Michael Carter is a good option there. Kenneth Walker, you can do that at your own risk. We finally got to look at a good Kenneth Walker, but I don't know if that just stays. I don't know if that was just a one-time thing. Tyron Tracy is probably going to be a contrarian look. He's the top dog. He pretty much dominates it like a 65-35 or 70-30 with Singletary. You would think with Las Vegas that's going to be a close game, so I do like Tracy as a low-price contrarian option at 6,200. Pollard at home against New Orleans is not bad either at 61. I mean, Zach Charbonnet, yes, but like I said, Charbonnet, it looks like a smart play when the touchdown happens. But like I said, they literally split it in half, and it's not like Charbonnet goes off for 2-3 touchdowns. Like, if you made me pick, the better vulture is still Tyler Algier. It's just annoying that Zach Charbonnet does it pretty much every week. But when you look at Charbonnet's stats, he's doing it for one touchdown. He's not getting a 100-yard bonus. If there was such thing as an 80-yard bonus, he's not even getting that either. So they're just, lining things up there. I kind of like the matchup, but you obviously have Dylan Sampson. You obviously have Dylan Sampson with no more Quinshawn Judkins. I don't know where else you would really want to go. Sean Tucker's a vulture, but like I said, that's a pretty healthy backfield, so you can't really go there. There's really nothing going down this far that I like at all. I mean, Amani Marshall might get called up. Like I said, the Quinshawn Judkins injury was horrible, but I guess... Travion Williams is a possibility for Cleveland as well. I really don't like anything down here. Like, pay down? No. Like, literally, if he doesn't pass concussion protocol, the best value on the slate automatically becomes Ramondre Stevenson at 6,400. Let's go into wide receivers real quick before we almost wrap this up. So, JSN, it's just, self-made what it is, 9,600. Jamar Chase against Arizona, you still got to pick him regardless. The volume is there, the talent is there. Like I said, against the Bills, I don't like A.J. Brown this week. If I stack, I'm going Devontae, Goddard, or just Devontae single. And sometimes he throws screen passes. I like doing this sometimes because people forget some of these running backs when they get. Some of these running backs are good wide receivers. Some of these running backs, though, like a Chase Brown, like a Saquon, like a James Cook, and I understand, yes. If there's anything that kind of repels each other, doesn't look good in any lineup, is having James Cook with Josh Allen. But there are times where some of these guys get this screen pass, and that one TD makes that little mini stack or weird mini stack loop go by. And it's a contrarian stack, but don't get me wrong, will I still get a piece of A.J. Brown? A piece. Like I said, I played a 20 back. But if I get to the Eagles, it's all about Goddard or Skinny with Devontae, or a contrarian way is Hurts, Saquon with Devontae. Something in that order. And if you want to go more contrarian, there's sometimes that has burnt me before. As they get as they get down the field, you'll see some play action or inside crossing route, and you'll probably could get a Goddard. You could get a Goddard 2 TD day. But like I said, my favorite way to do it is Skinny with Devontae Smith, excuse me. And why is that? Because the Bills do have good coverage linebackers. So just let you know that. Mike Evans, good option. Let's see if I forgot who it is. Let's see if I forgot who was out last week that I liked the matchup with Cincinnati. I think it's a Micah Fitzpatrick, if I'm not mistaken. He was out last week, so that's why I like some of the over-the-top plays with Higgins and company. Chris Olave, probably my favorite wide receiver, just period in this range. The volume he gets, he's still too cheap. I think by the end of the season, especially if he has another, the end of the season is next week or the following Sunday, but I think if he has another week like he did today, like he did last week, even without that extra touchdown, I think just for respect purposes, Chris Olave gets to 85. Forget 83. He should be at 85. T. Higgins, you already know. I've recommended this before. He's always going to be less owned than Chase, so that's your contrarian option to how to beat other Burrow lineups. Like I said, Devontae Smith at 74. Now that we see DK Metcalf, let's talk about him real quick. And like I said, I think this benefits more the tight ends. Because like when you see the wide receivers are going to be great value. We'll see what Calvin Austin's hamstring is going to look like. He's at 57. He's now the most expensive wide receiver. When I was messing with lineups, because they actually picked him up off waivers, because he wasn't happy with his role with Minnesota, and he was already getting rotations and plays and snaps, I like Adam Thielen at 5,000. Roman Wilson at 46. Ben Skronik, veteran, used to be like the 4th and 5th wide receiver on the Rams a couple years ago. Slant wide receiver. He might be a value. And then obviously already in the rotation as their deep threat, Marquez Valdez-Scantling at an even 4. It's just a case of you're just going to have to see what the news says on what they want to do with this group of wide receivers. I did not want to do that. So let's continue this before I wrap this up. Other values here are, or other top plays anyway that I like here are pass funnel, but the quarterback sucks, so I can't really go Jalen Waddle. Michael Wilson against Cincinnati is interesting. You're going to have to pick and choose who you think Cincinnati's going to treat as the number one. Because as bad as that offense, as bad as that defense has been all year, Cincinnati is one of the top. I don't know if they're still top, but they're definitely the top 5 at shutting down number ones or limiting number ones to get to their ceiling. So I definitely like Michael Wilson there. If they decide to treat Marvin Harrison after another week off the heel, they might let him go full on out because he was restricted last week. Jacoby Myers against Indy. Like I said, that Indy defense has been collapsing and giving up a lot, so I definitely like that there. Stephon Diggs against the Jets. That's probably a no-brainer. Brian Thomas Jr., contrarian. Jacoby Myers, Brent Strange gets more. Plus, and Parker Washington in the slot gets more ownership than him, so he looks like a nice contrarian play this week. Chris Godwin, like I said, all Tampa Bay wide receivers look great. Wandell was a bit of a flop last week after being popular. I will still go back to him against Las Vegas. Michael Pittman. That front 7 of Jacksonville has improved, but Jacksonville can still be beat over the top. Michael Pittman is a nice contrarian play. Once again, one of my young guys, Parker Washington, might still be contrarian. I don't think most people are going to point chase him there. There's other options like a Mac Hollins in New England around him. A lot of people are still liking Ibuka, Alec Pierce, Khalil Shakir, and Adonai Mitchell. And then, of course, you got Josh Downs. But definitely pay attention to what this Pittsburgh rotation is going to look like. And I'm actually going to end this here. I'll get more into the tight ends. Obviously, with the Brock Bowers news just dropping, he's on IR. So, Mayer is about I think he's 4,700 tight end. But that's the main news right there. I will continue off this video and I just want to give you a general scope of what this slate really looks like and what I really like so far. And obviously, I'll get more into the tight ends and defense in another separate video like how I have been doing pretty much most of this season. But thank you for tuning in. Sorry for not, sounding too good, but I think I got a good amount of information for you guys so you guys can get ready for this slate. Like I said, the next video will be out Friday. What am I going to do tonight? Chill, relax, have a drink or two, enjoy your Christmas, enjoy the family, enjoy the laughs, enjoy the football. Even though 3 teams are starting either backup or third-string backups, which might lead to some really ugly football. I just realized that today. With the injuries, 3 teams are either starting a backup or a third string. So there might not be a great quality of football. But me being a Bronco fan, I need the Broncos to win to keep that number 1 seed hope alive. Other than that, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you found this information helpful to get you started for the Week 17 main slate. If you are playing the Christmas slate tomorrow, good luck to you. This is your boy Grade A Fantasy, signing off.